2 years ago, as an incoming high school senior, I thought I was hot stuff. I had a great GPA and a resume full of clubs and extracurricular activities. Coming into the year, I was taking 2 online classes and 2 other classes that were both going to be a breeze. Little did I know that the journey before me was going to be filled with many sleepless nights, stressful afternoons, and many days questioning whether I was making the right decision with the path I was choosing. I mistakenly believed that because these classes were online, they were going to be much easier since all my answers would be just a mouse click away. This belief was ultimately the cause of many of my problems. At the last possible moment, I would start what I needed to be getting done, which led to an awful ritual of doing things the night before they were due. This, in turn, led to awful performances on tests and work, as I really wasn't learning anything. I was only trying to find the answers online. And in many cases, the answers online weren't exactly what I needed, which wasn't helpful. This is where I finally realized I had to make a change, or else I was going to get a poor grade in a class that was my last chance to prove I had what it took to get into a university that I wanted to attend. Miraculously, I found some help and implemented strategies into my day-to-day life that helped me turn around my semester. At a time like now, when most schools across the nation are shifting to online learning and students are ever increasingly growing weary of online lectures and busy work, you may wonder, how can I better traverse the world of online learning? Most people would start by using Google, but then you get stuck taking a BuzzFeed quiz which tells you if you're funny or not, or trying to figure out what your rap name would be. Mine is Juicy Dog, by the way. The internet is a rabbit hole that many of us struggle with on a daily basis, and it makes online learning even harder as we have to deal with all these endless distractions. Nearly everyone has a phone or laptop at their disposal, and getting sucked into the endless stream of media is one of the easiest things to do, especially when you're supposed to be listening to an online lecture. I have found that the best way to sit down and learn is to start by watching your lecture one time fully through, and then go back and pausing when necessary to better understand some of the things you may find hazy. Any particularly hazy or elusive concepts can be supplemented with YouTube tutorials to help you master them. The benefit of these YouTube videos is that it is the job of the video creator to entertain and to rack up those views. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way. So the information is usually more concise, clear to understand, and retained longer than the traditional lectures given by normal professors. Traditional instructors' main goal is not to entertain, they merely instruct. This, unfortunately, makes online teaching for them a much harder task, since the attention span of online device users is much shorter and they are ill-equipped to make memorable material. However, because the internet is so vast, it is easy to find extra supplemental lecture videos if your professor is just not able to speak your learning language. You may be thinking, how in the world am I going to stay focused on YouTube when you just said that the internet is the easiest way to get distracted? The answer is a simple one, but hard to master. You must follow self-discipline in order to stay on track. This is definitely one of the harder things that you can do, and in some cases even harder than the work you're supposed to be doing for your classes. However, there are some good ways to practice that will be helpful beyond your online learning experience. One tactic is to set goals, both long-term and short-term, in order to motivate yourself to stay on task. For long-term goals, you may want to set these goals a little higher, such as getting into a great college or having a great career. Personally, I always wanted to get into the University of Pennsylvania, and throughout high school, this caused me to work harder and always stay on top of my tasks. When the day came for acceptance letters to come in, I was not one of the select few that received one. At first, this was hard to grapple, but this was one of the best things that could have happened to me. Every day, I still keep that defeat in mind, as it is still a goal of mine to get into this school one day. But the only way I can get there is to continue working my hardest day in and day out. This includes always being able to perform my schoolwork to the best of my ability. You too can stay motivated by keeping your long-term goals in mind, because you would not want to screw over your future self by not doing something trivial now. These long-term goals are supplemented by short-term goals, such as getting a certain number of assignments done or listening to all your lectures for that day. Doing this will allow you to work towards a daily goal and not feel like the work you're putting in is going to waste. With these short-term goals, you should have a reward in mind for completing them. This will give you an incentive to actually meet these goals for the day. For instance, I like to take long naps and watch Netflix movies after a long day of work. This allows me to de-stress and do it all again the next time around. With the right attitudes, materials, and goals, you will be able to stay on top of your online classes and create helpful productivity habits that will be useful down the road.